What if I told you your most powerful photos might look better without color? There is always something truly magical about seeing a waterfall stripped of all colors. Just pure light, shadow, and motion. Because when you take color away, you start to notice the rhythm, the texture, and emotion in every drop. Well, hi there everyone, and welcome back to another black and white video. Well, not this video is in color, but we'll be doing some editing in black and white. So in this video, I'm taking you behind the scenes of my black and white editing process, showing you how removing color can actually add power and depth to your image. Whether you shoot landscapes or nature scenes, or just love exploring the art of photography. This tutorial might just change the way you look at black and white forever. Well, here we are everyone in Adobe Camera Raw, and you can use Lightroom and any other editing software to get the same results that I do. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to use the light panel here, and I'm going to start decreasing the exposure quite a bit to around -2, somewhere there. And I'm gonna give it just a touch of contrast, as like we always say, we always need contrast in black and white images. Don't worry about the clippings on the blacks here. And I'm gonna carry on with the sliders in the light panel. I'm gonna decrease just a touch of highlights. Don't worry, we'll be getting these highlights back later on. And I'm going to increase just a touch of shadows. Just till about there. I'm going to move the white slider just a touch to the left. And like that, we can see where the light was coming from this left side corner here. Always remember that that is the key to great imaging, by checking where the light was coming from, which was the left side here, and just shining down slightly over here. But we're going to enhance that, and you're going to see the great difference you will get. I'm going to decrease the blacks just a touch. And again, I'm going to decrease the exposure even more. And you're going to see why I do this later on. That should be okay. I'm going to head down to the effects panel. And I'm going to give it some texture to around there. You're not going to see any difference because the image is quite dark, but don't worry. We'll correct that later on as well. I'm going to just give it a touch of dehaze. And that should be great. I'm going to head down to the detail panel. I'm going to give it quite a bit of sharpening to around the 60s. I'm going to reduce the radius, which I always do, and increase the detail all the way. And by doing that, you get much sharper, fine details in all the small bits here. I'm going to increase the masking, and remember to hold down your Alt key to see where you want the sharpening to be affected, which will be on the white parts. And like this, you'll be removing any noise also. That should be okay. It looks quite a dull image now, but don't worry everyone, you're going to see the amazing difference. I think that's enough here, and I'm going to head straight over to the masking, and I'm going to start off with the linear gradient. And here I'm going to place the linear gradient on the top. A tip here, hold down your up arrow on your keyboard and you get a straight line. And here I'm going to reduce the exposure to about there. The main subject of this image, as you all know, obviously is the waterfall here in the middle. Now I'm going to head over to the masking again. I'm going to use another linear gradient and I'm going to use it for the foreground. I'm going to tilt it just a bit like this and I'm going to reduce the exposure to around there. And the next mask I'm going to do, everyone, and I think this is where the magic is going to happen. I'm going to use a radial gradient and I'm going to place it just on the top part of these rocks here. I always imagine how I want the image before I start editing, and I'm going to show you what I mean. Like I said in the beginning, we had the light shining slightly from this side going to these rocks here. And so we're going to enhance that by using a radial gradient on the top part of the rocks. And like this, I'm going to increase the exposure. Don't worry, you can do these adjustments later if you see it's too much. And I'm going to increase it just a touch more. It should be okay. I'm going to use another radial gradient, but this time I'm going to make my cursor in the middle. Right click. And I'm going to duplicate mask 3. And then just grab the duplicated radial and drag it to where you want to place the next mask, which is going to be on the next boulder here. Somewhere like that, just tilt it a bit. Should be great. And again, I'm going to head to the middle and I'm going to duplicate mask 3 again. And I'm going to head over to the next boulder here. Tilt it just a touch. Should be okay. I'm going to do the same. Right click, duplicate mask 3 and drag it down to the next boulder. And you can see we already have some effects coming in place here. Should be great. Now I'm going to use another radial gradient, but I'm going to choose it from up here. And I'm going to place it over these hanging vines here, if you can call them that. I'm going to tilt it just a touch, and here we're just going to increase the exposure just a touch, like that. I'm going to open it up a touch. I'm going to use another radial gradient. I'm going to place it over these leaves here. And guys, by using masking like this, you'll be creating a great image here. Like I always say, masking is the key to great images. Should be okay there. Now I'm going to place another radial gradient and I'm going to place it over the main subject in the middle here. As I always say, guys, have patience when you're doing your editing. And the best thing to do is step back a bit take a coffee break, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and come back and check your image. And you can make any adjustments where you think you raise the sliders too much or too little. And here I'm going to increase the exposure on the waterfall quite a bit, and we're going to give it that mystical look here. I'm going to increase just a bit of whites. I'm going to head down to the texture and give it a touch of texture also. And I'm going to reduce the dehaze. And that should be great. Next, I'm going to use another radial gradient, and I'm going to place it over the water here in the middle to around there. I'm going to tilt it just a touch, open it up a bit more, and increase the exposure just a touch like that. And that should be great. I'm going to head out of the masking, like I said, take a break, which I'm not going to do because the video is going to take too long. And I'm going to check and see if everything is okay. I'm going to head back down to the masking here, and I'm going to use another radial gradient, and we're going to place it on the outside left corner, top left corner, like I said, where the light was coming from. And I'm going to place it just like it's shining on these rocks. And I'm going to open it up quite a bit and reduce it like that. Tilt it a bit. Should be great. Always make sure your featherings is up to 100. And I'm going to increase the exposure here to around there, and I'm going to give it a touch of dehaze to give us that glowy look. But I'm going to minus the dehaze. And that should be great. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to head over to the masking again, and I'm going to use a brush, and I'm going to paint away here on the top part, just like that. And I'm going to darken a bit here to around there, and that should be okay. I'm going to use another radial gradient, everyone, and I'm going to place it exactly where I placed the source of light was coming from on the first mask here of the light source. I'm going to open it up, but here I'm going to invert the mask, and I'm going to minus the exposure to around there. I'm going to head out of the masking, everyone. I'm going to reduce the image size, and I think it's looking great. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to take it over to Photoshop, and I'm going to show you how to use the curve tool in Photoshop. You can see the difference here when it loads up the image, and you'll see the amazing difference now. Let it load, guys. And there it is, everyone. We have a great mystical looking image, and you can call it black magic. So I'm going to head down to the adjustments layer here, and I'm going to use the curve tool, and I'm going to click on this drop down window, and I'm going to use linear contrast. I'm going to close here. I'm going to see the difference. That should be great. I'm going to double click on here, but I'm going to make a slight adjustment. I'm going to increase the blacks because I don't want the image that dark. And I'm going to increase the lights here. And that should be great. Gonna close here. And there we have everyone. Well, I hope you like my editing style, everyone. If you want to learn more about black and white photography, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up. And please leave any comments below. Thank you, everyone, and I'll see you all in the next one.